Do you explain? I mean, we heard a lot of analysts and and comments about why Putin started this war in Ukraine. But it's interesting to have a comment from you, somebody from Russia, well informed, and what's Russian society. Why he started this, if I may say, adventure?
I mean, he started to mess with Ukraine many years ago, since the first Maidan in 2004, 2005, because all of a sudden the neighbor country, Ukraine, had shown the ability to overthrow the governments and the desire to go to Europe, to be democratic. I think that since this moment, Putin and his government, they were afraid that Ukraine will show an example for Russia, the example of democratic change of power. Therefore, they interfered with every round of Ukrainian elections. We do remember how the candidate Yushchenko was poisoned. You remember probably his terribly distorted face. It was a clear special op of Russians. And of course, after the second Maidan, when Ukraine clearly chose the European way of development, they were simply afraid, as they were afraid, for example, in 2020, when Belarusians all of a sudden poured to the streets, started to protest en masse on a very huge scale. It was sort of a wildfire for Moscow, because this sets an example.
But this war is not easy for Putin to handle this. This war, it costs money, it costs a lot of lives. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of people who are dead in this war. I mean, do you think that it's a price that he can pay, and that it's comfort them to stay in his position?
Let me tell you one thing about their mindset. Let's go back again, 1994. The first time Russian army invaded Chechnya. Russian general commander said a few days before the invasion, it will be ended in 3 days. I need just one paratrooper regiment to take Grozny. The Russians always think about their counterparts as they do not exist. They thought that Chechens will not fight back. They will surrender immediately. And they thought that Ukrainians will surrender.
How possible is it? It's autistic, if I
but this is what happens in their brains. This is what happened in their mind. They think that the country is so powerful, so big, that nobody will resist. And it's very strange, because they learned the very painful lessons during the First and Second Chechen War. But these lessons, they cannot learn. They always think, okay, Ukrainians, what are these Ukrainians? They will not fight. And of course, they live in their own informational bubble. Like 2 weeks ago, I spoke with the person who had a chance to see the documents prepared by the Federal Security for Yeltsin before this Chechen invasion. In these documents, the Federal Security wrote that the Chechens will bring flowers to the Russian troops. This is the info on which the decision was made. And we clearly see that the Russians invading Ukraine in February 2022, they were bringing their parade uniforms with them, preparing for the parade in Kiev. And this is only one good thing about the Russians. They are really not in the reality. But this is the imperial complex of superiority. We are the Russia. We are this mighty force. Who will risk to withstand us? And the total rejection of other subjectivity.
So